Causes of cochlear hearing loss. Alterations in the structure or the function of the cochlea produce more hearing losses than abnormalities in any other areas of the sensorineural system. There are prenatal, before birth causes that can have an adverse effect on the normal development of the cochlea. To give you a quick bio lesson, all heredity information is incorporated in our DNA, which contains our genes and the blueprints for a hereditary code. The phenotype is the physical manifestation of a trait, and the genotype is the actual genetic makeup that results from the trait. So all of our genes are strung in a bead-like fashion along the chromosomes, and we have 23 pairs. One chromosome from each pair is inherited from the parent, and they're randomly selected. Different forms of a gene are called the alleles. For example, for a baby to have blue eyes, it needs an allele for blue eyes from the mom and from the dad, and the trait is homozygous. If the alleles are different, for example, if one parent has brown eyes, big B, and a parent with blue eyes, little b, will have a baby with big B, little b, the phenotype will be brown eyes. The trait is heterozygous, it's mixed. When a gene from one parent is required for a trait to be shown, it is called autosomal dominant. So brown eyes are autosomal dominant. Only one parent has to have the trait. When an allele from both parents is required for the trait to be shown, it is autosomal recessive. So blue eyes are a recessive trait. Autosomal recessive inheritance accounts for 80% of profound genetic hearing impairment. So the child must inherit an allele from both parents. Half of these are associated with syndromes. Children with autosomal recessive hearing loss usually have two parents with normal hearing who carry the recessive gene. So this is why newborn hearing screening was so monumental, because before newborn hearing screening, parents normally wouldn't suspect that their child has hearing loss because it's a recessive disorder. So both parents have normal hearing and everything seems normal with the baby. It's not till later on that the baby's not speaking that a hearing loss is suspected, because genetic hearing loss tends to be from a recessive gene. With a recessive gene, there's a 25% chance of each of the gene being passed down with each pregnancy. And it's not like the parents, if they were to have 4 children, only one would have hearing loss. No, it's their 25% chance, excuse me, with each pregnancy. And each normal hearing child has a 2/3 chance of being a carrier for the hearing loss. Some forms of hereditary hearing loss are associated with other abnormalities, and these are syndromes. So syndrome is like an umbrella term for a few things going wrong. There could be cleft palate disorders, optic disorders, changes in eyes, hair, skin pigmentations, thyroid disease, disorders of the heart, mental retardation, sensory motor deficits could all be under an umbrella term. Whenever a group of symptoms is considered together for a diagnosis of a particular disorder, the combinations of signs is called a syndrome. At times, there could be chromosomal abnormalities. At times, a portion of chromosomes are missing or there's extra material found. For example, Down syndrome, an extra third chromosome is present, and some people with Down syndrome may also have hearing loss. So Down syndrome, adults with Down syndrome might have smaller hearts, mild mental retardation, they might have conductive hearing losses. When a few different things come together, it's called a syndrome. Other prenatal causes of hearing loss include the Rh factor, in which the fetus's blood type is different from that of the mother. The fetus's blood contains a protein Rh that's absent from the mother, and the mother's body produces antibodies for protection against the harmful effects of this protein, but the antibodies end up hurting the baby. This isn't so much of an issue anymore. Doctors are able to screen for this and treat it while the mother's pregnant. Other prenatal causes include cerebral palsy, congenital damage to the brain, motor or sensory systems. Rubella could cause hearing loss. That's why we have vaccines to prevent against rubella. Viral infections. Most of the damage can be done in the first 3 months of life when the inner ear and the central nervous system. The first 3 months of gestation while the mother's pregnant. A viral infection can cause the hearing loss. Anoxia, which is oxygen deprivation, either while the mother's pregnant or during birth. CMV, a form of the herpes virus, can affect the developing fetus and produce a variety of physical symptoms. They might have sensorineural hearing loss. It could be contracted through the placenta or through the cervix during delivery. Again, your doctor would test for these things and try to prevent them from happening. Anoxia, deprivation of oxygen, could cause damage to the cochlea and the central nervous system. It could happen through the umbilical cord, dislocation of the placenta, or toxic substances in the blood. Prematurity, weighing less than 1,500 grams, puts the infant at risk. It also puts the infant in incubators where there might be high noise levels that would contribute to a sensorineural hearing loss. Other factors, remember I said very serious cases of otitis media could go on and infect the inner ear or other portions of the brain. Bacterial meningitis, an infection of the meninges in the brain, could lead to total deafness. The labyrinth fills with pus in the ear. And as healing takes place, the labyrinth is, bone is grown, and there is sensorineural hearing loss in the cochlea. The cochlea is no longer functioning properly. Viral infections, including measles, mumps, rubella. I think Helen Keller had the mumps, and that's why she lost her hearing. Syphilis causes brain or cochlear damage, and an infection of the labyrinth of the auditory vestibular system will also cause hearing loss.